Hi, this is Brendan Murphy here, and welcome to the Please Do Something podcast. I'm a singer and a songwriter who will be talking to inspiring creative people about how and why they do what they do and some of the lessons they've learned along the way. Thanks for listening. Today I talked to Mary Coughlan, one of Ireland's greatest soulful jazz and blues singers. She came to the public's attention in 1985 with her first album, Tired and Emotional. She's an artist whose unique voice grows richer with every record, and her latest life stories has to be, in my opinion, one of her best. We'll be chatting about that album and an exciting new project she has in the works involving the songs of acclaimed jazz singer Peggy Lee. Plus, she warns me about the dangers of yoga and the ups and downs of rowing her own boat as an independent artist in the choppy waters of the music business. So, tell us this, Mary. I've had this issue with a lot of the people that I've been talking to because they've had such interesting lives that you could get lost in the weeds. You know, I could spend an hour talking about the 80s or the 90s.
I can't remember any of it.
Yes, which doesn't really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work the other way. So I'd rather talk about what you're at the minute, personally, because I find it so exciting. Anyway, the fact that I just love. I love this life stories that
But that was all right, yeah. But that's fucking 3 years ago now. Jesus, it never really got a chance, you know. But there you go. We'll talk about it.
Hang on, you don't think it got a chance? A chance to do what?
Oh, no, I mean, I had like 35 festivals from Iceland to Norway to Glastonbury, fucking all lined up, big tours and everything, but they never happened. But sure, I ended up selling it from the kitchen table. And I mean, I did get an awful lot of coverage over it because of the pandemic. And, you know, it got a lot of interest in Ireland, but I didn't have the opportunity to tour it with the band. And, we did some gigs, and we did England just now. We did 12 gigs in England.
Yeah. And
we'll go back and I've been rebooked for Glastonbury next year. And I don't know what's going to happen in Germany and all those places, you know. Nobody knows, but sure, we're grand. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah. And, it's a great record, and it's your latest record. And as far as I'm concerned, but you know what I mean, it's could have come out 6 months ago. You know, I mean, I was still,
thank you. Yeah.
And here's the thing. I mean, it's with some records and artists and live shows, actually, momentum, weirdly enough, I feel differently about your record than you do, I think. I think that your record's getting bigger. Even now. Yeah, I know that sounds ridiculous. But I do. I'll give you an example. And this is, I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, but I was on the phone to a guy we both know, Derek Turner from the Spirit Store. How many gigs has that guy seen? I mean, he's done front of house for all our shows, and we've been doing the Spirit Store for a decade. And
Derek goes, yeah.
And he says to me there 2 years ago, he goes, he brought it up actually. He said, have you seen the show? And I said, well, what, Mary's show? I said, no, I haven't seen it. And he said, it's something else. I'd say it's the best show I have seen in this room in, I forget how long. But this is Derek Turner saying that. And I remember thinking, wow, when I thought all the shows, and I just get a sense of that generally. Other people have been talking to me about not just the album, but also the combination of you with your current band.
They're really good, and I guess I have to say I'm probably enjoying it more than ever. And even though we didn't do an awful lot, we did an awful lot, if you know what I mean. You know, There was a lot of half 50% capacity. Fuck it, the band is great. I'm still all right, and the songs are great. Fucking Paul Buchanan song is incredible. You know, Family Life, and I co-wrote a good few songs with Pete Glenister. Yeah, I'm really happy with it, but I'm on to the next project now, you know. So
okay, well, but what is the next project then, or you know?
Okay, so it's a very interesting project, and when I went to New Zealand about 16 years ago, a man called Dougie McLean handed me a record. It's called Mirrors, and it's a Peggy Lee album. vinyl. And he said, I think this is the only copy of this in New Zealand, and there were only 1,000 ever made. And he said it was deleted by the record company because the reviews were awful. So then he said, I'm going to give you the album, he said, and if you ever do it, I'd, be delighted, or whatever. So lockdown happened, and I started listening to the album and trying to figure out what it was about. It's very, very dark. And the only song that was ever released from it is That All There Is? You know that song? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Do you know that song? She won a Grammy for it. She only sang it once on television, and she won a Grammy for her performance.
Okay.
And the album was deleted, and I went rooting for any information I could find about the album. And it went from Capitol Records to Decca, and then Universal bought it all up. So I approached Universal, and they said, we never heard of it, don't know anything about it. Maybe. So then she died, and some guy in Japan released it on CD, and then they took it down because, whatever. Universal then all of a sudden owned it.
Yeah.
And then they contacted me, your man Mark Crossingham in Dublin, and he said, yeah, we do own that album, he said, and I found out a lot about it. So he sent me through the printer's notes, the ones that you send to the printer. They were never put in with the album. It's 63 pages of notes that Lieber and Stoller wrote the album for Peggy Lee.
Okay.
And they wrote everything, like Hound and
Yeah.
So it was very political. There's a song on it about the rise of the Nazi Party in 1939 in New York. And there's footage. I went research it. I went down the rabbit hole, all the rabbit holes. There's a song about old people being annihilated because they were old. There's a song about a black woman ironing for her white. It's all very now for her white family, for her white. Yeah. There's a little song about, it's a huge song about a young girl who thinks she murders the old lady upstairs. I don't know whether the old woman is the real person or the little girl, schizophrenic little MJ is her name. Anyways, the songs are fucking so bizarre and right up my alley. So I decided I would try and get some money from Wicklow County Council to produce them. So they gave me a very small amount of money. They gave me about 12 grand to research and develop and put a team together. So Johnny Taylor, who's my pianist, he wrote out all the parts. So this album was recorded with strings and it's unbelievable. And it just lay there doing nothing, all these years. So I'm trying to recreate the album. And then in the very end of the notes, Lieber and Stoller and Peggy Lee talked about how gutted they were that the album, got awful reviews, and they had wanted to bring it to Broadway. They wanted to put it on as a play. It's very visual when you hear every song, So they called them, they wanted every song to be a playlet. That's what they called them. And so I'm working with a video person and an illustrator to see if we can bring life to them. But now I have to go looking for more money for that. So, but we have the album recorded. I done my best on the vocals. I'll give them another whack in February, and we're doing strings. Johnny's writing parts for strings at the moment and horns. So we get it all done, and then we'll see what we'll do with it. So
tell me, when you say it's are you mimicking the parts of the are the string parts the same string parts that would have been on the Peggy Lee album?
No. So obviously not, because there's what's his name that really failed, Johnny Mandel.
Okay.
Did the arrangements. Randy Newman did some of the arrangements when he was just like a child. So this was done in 1969, between 1969 and 1973. Okay. There was recorded with the whole orchestra. So we're not mimicking the string parts. We're making it. It's probably a bit more. I don't know if it's what you call it, but it's very now.
Okay.
My son Owen did electronic music. He's 40 now. He studied electronic music, and he went back to Trinity to do a master's in that. So he got his hands on a big fucking Moog, or whatever, polyphonic Moog.
Yeah.
So we're making really weird sounds so as not to replicate. We'll put strings I have a really good friend who's a cello player and a violin player, but we don't have the money to do big strings, but we do have this fucking moog. I call it a moog, but it's called a moog, to make strange sounds on it.
Okay.
And to make it very atmospheric. So that's done. That's done now. And we did that just before Christmas. And it's nice to have my son working on project with me after all this time. So he programmed the Moog and Johnny played the. It's fucking fantastic. They're amazing things. They were invented so that people could pretend, use them for anything, So we've added that. I've sung them, and I don't know what to do with it, but it definitely deserves to be heard. And I want to sing it. I want to perform it,
Oh, sounds very exciting.
There's 13 songs. There was only 11 on the original album, and I've discovered 2 more that they never added to the original album. So it's a huge fucking story as well.
Yeah.
And with last year, what was going on in America, I mean, there's actual video footage of 45,000 people with the Nazi salute in Madison Square Garden. And there's a Nazi flag, American flag, all lined up the back of and there's riots on the street outside with cops beating people on horseback. So there you go. So there's a load. I can do a lot with it. It needs fucking money, and nobody, somebody will come up with a few bob to put it together,
And when you say putting together, you're not thinking of the show, are you? You're basically talking about finishing the record. Is that it?
Finish the record, and I want to perform it in one piece, you know what I mean? And maybe some video behind, yeah. I'm going to be doing it in theatres. I don't know where I'll fucking do it. I don't know if I'll ever get a gig again. But the vision for it is to work with these 2 video people to make a video for every song and to use footage from before times. There's one song which is really horrible. It's about, it touches on, what do you call that thing when they used to try and turn homosexuals into normal people with saying aversion therapy.
Okay.
There's a song about aversion therapy in it. And so all the stuff is really fucking very, very dark. And it makes great singing and it'll make great videos. I
didn't realize that Leiber and Stoller went there as songwriters.
Well, neither did I. So they did.
Yeah, wow.
In a big way. And then we found video footage of, Lou Reed. His parents sent him for aversion therapy. And there's footage of him in a hospital. And I'm going to try, there's a guy called Adam Curtis. He makes documentaries for BBC. He has a lot of footage, video footage that I'm trying to get hold of. I've written to his agent to see if he'll comply. So I'm just doing things like that, trying to keep myself going. And, I think it will happen,
Yeah, it's too far down the tracks now for it.
It's too far down the tracks for it not to happen. So I hope it does happen, and I hope it works.
And there was me thinking that you were just doing shows in the garden.
Being a granny, I have 7 grandchildren now as well. So They're here. Mostly, all of them are here almost every day. So they come and go.
No, I had this vision of you in lockdown doing yoga and then going for a walk and looking out at the Wicklow Mountains and then coming back.
I did all that as well. I fell on my fucking face. I did 130 or 140 days of yoga, 6 days a week. I nearly fucking killed myself. And the end of it, I just fell on my face and said, "Oh, fuck this shit," And I just, I couldn't do it anymore. I was stretched every which way but right. And I gave up the yoga. I literally fell on my face, hurt my back, Oh,
so you don't feel any better for having done it all those? No.
And the yoga teacher, Teresa, who was teaching us, said, "Oh, yoga teachers never tell you the awful things that can happen to you when you're doing yoga."
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of injuries. Anyways, I did actually fall on my face.
Yeah.
When I was doing my downward dog, and I hurt my back, and I'm still not the better of it. So there you go.
Right.
So.
All right.
Let's stick to music.
Well, yeah. So I'm still sort of shocked that you managed to get all that stuff done. There was me. I'm still excited about the last record, and you have now moved on to. But tell us this, look. that was the family life. You know, not
So
many
beautiful.
people can cover the Blue Nile really, or Paul Buchanan. For me, one of the best male singers of the last.
Oh, he's fucking beyond, and songwriters. He's incredible. He knows the story. I was driving back from Galway the night my mother was buried, and John Creedon played it. So Peace at Last, I think the name of the album was. It's 15 years ago. And that song came on the radio, and my kids were in the back of the car. And Ray LaMontagne, Let It Be Me, that came on the radio as well. And the two songs, like, you know, ripped us all apart, you know. And my daughter, Claire, who was probably 15 or 16 at the time, she wrote down the names of the songs. And Claire bought me the albums for Christmas. And I wanted to do it, and I was afraid to do it, you know, because it was the Blue Nile and all that. But he said that he liked the version. Somebody sent him me singing a video. I made a video at a live concert in Scotland, singing the song, and he said he liked it and wished me well with it. So there you go.
The production on that last record, I thought, was really great because it wasn't fussy, but it's managed to sound intimate and big at the same time. It was a
lot of it was fussy.
You think it was fussy?
Pete Clelister, I've known Pete for since 1989, and you know he worked with Kirsty a lot.
Yeah,
Kirsty McCall and Alison Moye and Terence Fuca, who he didn't work with, but I always got on well with him, and we did a lot of gigs over the years. Kirsty McCall, not tribute gigs, but on her first anniversary on the 5th, on the 10th and whatever. And there was a big one planned for 2020, but that might go ahead this year. Anyway, so we worked a lot and we worked well together, but I'd never written any songs. And this time I went over and I stayed for a week and we wrote a song. This was our intention, was to try and write as many as we could together. And I thought we were finished, and then he started asking me about my ex-husband, my second ex-husband, Frank. And he said, "Do you think you have any old anger or venom left?" And so it all came pouring out. Literally, he almost kind of, I can't write. I'm not like you. I can't write like verses and choruses and stuff, but I have a lot to say, and I have a lot of stories. So he would almost interview me and then write everything down. And then we would sit and take out phrases and words and stuff like that. So the album was finished, and I stayed on it for the extra weekend, and we did that last song, Two Breaking Into One, which was a big enough hit, you know, for me. I woke up singing a Cilla Black song, you know, that big Cilla Black song. Oh, I can't remember the fucking name of it now. You know, the really famous song that she wrote. She didn't write it. It was oh fuck, my head is gone. Anyways, I woke up one morning in Pete's house, and I came down for breakfast. I stayed with them, and himself and his wife. They have a beautiful house down in South London, and we just had a great summer. It was lockdown, but I was there with them, you know.
Yeah.
And I came down singing the Cilla Black song. He says, "Why are you singing that?" And he said, "I don't know." And then later on in the day, he said, "Do you think?" And he must have been, you know, thinking in his head. So, anyways, we wrote the song literally in the afternoon. And we recorded it. I went back to the airport on the 24th of February, fully thinking I'd go back and redo some of the vocals, and never got. And then in September, I should have fucking just let it out, you know. Yeah. So literally, no makeup, no cover, no fucking hairdo, no nothing. Just let it go, you know. See what happens. And yeah, it's good. Kept me busy selling CDs from the kitchen for a year and a half, you know.
Yeah,
I got 3 more orders today, thank the Lord. So there you go.
Well, that's great, and you know, you're sort of cutting out the middleman. I mean, I think, you know, it's more and more people are doing that. Really, I think, you know, because they can now. The technology's there that basically you can just deal directly. I mean, funny enough, I have a friend. Only 2 days ago, I was talking to her as a jewelry maker, and here in Carlingford, and she was saying that. I said, she said, "Oh, are you going to do another podcast interview?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to do one. I'm talking to Mary Coughlan." Our eyes lit up. I said, "Mary," I said, would you believe I got the album for Christmas, and inside it said there was like a card, there was some sort of a note or a card or something that we
I draw pictures for everybody. Yeah.
Right. Well, she was just made up because
she kept me fucking busy. Some days here on the kitchen table, I swear to God, the local post office was fucking made up as well. I was selling 100 CDs a day sometimes, it was great. So anyways, I'm still selling them in dribs and drabs, 2 and 3 a day, most days, thankfully. And there's life at a jet, and I'll do the festivals that I didn't do 2 years ago. I hopefully do them this year. And flog a few suitcases full of CDs. But yeah, it's very interesting, that whole middleman thing. I mean, and I think the Irish government, I'm not sure about many governments, and I know we fucking moan about them, but they stepped up to the table with funding, more so than a lot of countries,
Yeah, they did.
And suddenly, I don't know where this fucking money is coming from. I don't really give a shit, but they're giving people money. Like, I would never, ever, ever have considered asking the Arts Council for a grant to do anything, And I just mentioned it to a local woman in Wicklow, in the Mermaid Theatre. I don't know if you've ever done it. And she said, "Oh, that's a great idea." She said, "Here, do you want money?" Literally. She said, "We have tons of money to give away to Wicklow artists this year." And she just gave me it's 12 grand, It's not an awful lot of money to do a project like this, but it got it started, And I've applied for another 12, and I'll get that as well, And then we'll finish it, So it's cutting out. Finally, I think that maybe because we all had record deals years ago, and they really, fucking moaned about them. But at the same time, it enabled us to work. And I know that Warner Brothers did huge campaigns, around my albums so that I could walk into Australia, 15, 20, I still work in Australia and New Zealand. Every other year I go down there. So as much as I'd moan about them, they still put the name out there, I just think that, and people ring me now, will you do a gig in the summer? So I don't have an agent, so they just ring me. It's fucking great.
I think that the whole business has shifted in that technology, and now you can just put your email on your website if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's a very different sort of a business, because the old business was based on everybody was banking on you selling gazillions
of records. It was a model that was kind of. And if you didn't, they'd drop you in 2 years. And it always happened to me. I always got dropped. And then I got signed by Virgin, and then I got dropped, and then it was V2, and then it was Demon. And, because I was desperately upset about it at the time, that people were, signing me and dropping me because I wasn't doing the gazillions of records, But I'm still fucking 36 years later making a living from it, And I think if I had gotten any more, I would probably be dead by now, you know what I mean?
I do.
So I'm 29 years off the jar now this year. And so that's, I think if I had had any more success than I had, I probably would have stayed going and, until I couldn't go any further, but I stopped. So, but again, and this is very, very manageable. And some years, you don't get that many gigs, but then some years you get loads of gigs. And as I said, every other year I go to Australia and New Zealand, a lot of festivals down there, and that keeps me going,
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, you also now own your music. You know what I mean? You own your record.
I own my records. I own everything. And V2, they were the label that Branson set up. They gave me back my albums. They were very kind. Decent kind of a fucking dude. I don't know who he is, but I've never met him. But when V2 went bust, I had 3 albums with them, and they just gave them back to me, And I've been printing them and selling them ever since, Not huge amounts, but you're doing a gig, you make CDs, The attic is full of fucking CDs. But there you go.
So, say with lockdown, to some degree, I think sort of the rug is pulled away from you, as it's like, okay, well, this is what life is like if you weren't gigging. musician. How do you think? Did you miss it?
Oh, fuck. This year, this lockdown, which we're still in, I suppose, it's not really a lockdown. I'm going out of my fucking mind. I don't mind saying it. Last year, we did everything that everybody asked us to do, whether it was going to sing to a fucking empty room, or I did the gigs in the garden, moved into the fucking house, drive down to Cork to do a gig to nobody, go to Galway to the Roisin Dove, do another gig for nobody. It was great to get people back. And then all of a sudden it went again,
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it'll come back now. I know they're going to make another announcement on Thursday. But the whole rhythm has gone of my, gigging life. I mean, here's fucking 22 gigs gone,
Yeah.
Every Friday, Saturday, and Wednesday, all of January and February, and up until March the 25th, all gone. I don't know what's going to happen. They say we'll get paid for the gigs, but that's great, But I do miss that rhythm of going out and performing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been part of my life now for 36 years.
Yeah.
And it never really stopped. I never stopped doing that, And I was a bit terrified in England in October, but we did 12 of the gigs that had been previously pulled, in the year before. I'm 64, fucking 65. It was a bit kind of, the gigs were stuffed. People were dying to come out. They were grand. They were all sold out. And I was kind of scared. I was kind of scared of, fuck it, and then I said, fuck it, I just put on my mask and go out the front and meet them afterwards, But there's that, I got my old vaccine and all that shit, and I just missed it, and it was great being back. So the buzz of being back and the connection, and it is a very big thing, it's a big part of my life, as it is yours and everybody I know. And I really enjoyed doing the online gigs, to getting the little hearts and the likes coming up and like that, and yourself and the four Jack Ale. A lot of you have kept it up every week, but I have a band,
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to do them and keep the band sustained, and a sound engineer, because there was 6 of us all the time, But we shared out the money between us, and people were very, very generous. And I thought we'd do it again this year, and Jack L said, "You're not doing a gig," and Brian Kent every said, "You're not doing a gig for Christmas." I just didn't feel it, I don't know. And then I'm looking at other people doing it, and you've been very inventive with what you've been doing, and
it's very different. We couldn't have done what we were doing if we were doing it with a band setup. I saw, you were the only person that I saw doing it on that sort of scale, where basically you had, it was a big operation. It was a big operation.
Production.
Yeah, it was. I remember looking at it and going, "Well, that's a lot of moving parts there. It's a lot of moving parts," and it was fantastic. And part of the reason it was fantastic was, it was invented because I didn't see anybody else doing it. Certainly not anybody else in Ireland doing it. And it sounded fantastic and looked great.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just, as you say, but it's not a gig. It's not the same thing. It's nowhere near the same thing.
No. But at the same time, I was very isolated in the beginning, because I live in the country, and I've had a heart attack and all that, and I have issues, some health issues, and the band didn't come near me. And I don't play any instruments, so I couldn't do that Zoom thing that everybody was doing, Yeah. So I had to wait until they came. They could come to the garden. And then I started saying, fuck it. Should we get Owen Murphy up to do the sound, and we threw up a few lights. And so we did a gig, and he had the little mixing desk there. It was good. It was great for what it was. It was so exciting to get us all together all day Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it was. And my son was a chef, and he would be cooking the dinner for us. And it was our highlight of our week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And we did them for 10 weeks. And then gigs started to come back with just, like 40 and 50 people let in, and we got a lot of them. And so it was so kind of, okay, well, I said, well, it's finished now, that's finished. I don't think the appetite of the public is there for it. I mean, we did get very well supported. I mean, people were very, very generous. I was in a position to give away 1,500 quid every week to a service like the Deserted Wives, the Refuge, the Women's Refuge in Bray, and the people who feed homeless people in Bray. I was able to give that amount of money away every week and pay us all as well,
Yeah.
So that was extraordinary. It was really good, but in the beginning, I felt I have to make it about a charity, because I didn't feel that anybody would be bothered just doing it for me.
Yeah.
So we're so that insecure, and in the end, it just turned into this huge fucking thing, and it was brilliant. But 10 weeks was enough, and that was it. And it was really, really good. It was really great to do,
And what about the the mobile music maker and the when you were doing those shows around the country and the care homes? That was pretty amazing as well. Did you enjoy that?
With the in the nursing homes? Jesus Christ, they're okay. So we did them in the summer, and they were nice, and everybody was sitting outside, and give them all we drink out bubbly and stuff, and sometimes their families came.
Yeah.
And that was nice. But then it was quite grim this winter. I did about 40 of them. The guys have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. John Spillane does some of them in Cork, and Luke has done a few over in Kildare. So you always get a band of 3 or 4 musicians to go out together and do them, And it's keeping people. So every county council gives money.
Okay.
They always have money to give for entertainment,
Yeah.
And Gerald Peregrine, the guy who thought it up, he just got everyone together, and he has about in Cork, Kerry, around Limerick and Clare, and we haven't been up in the north of the country, it's all Donegal or anywhere like that. It's just Wicklow, Wexford, kind of. He's kept people, musicians in employment as well.
Yeah,
you don't get that much, but it's fucking great,
Yeah,
But it reminds you of your mortality.
Yeah.
I found some of them, I really like doing we don't do just nursing homes, we do lots of different situations. We do the Wheelchair Association places, and they're all great forum people, most of them are just well able, good crack,
Yeah.
And we did a lot of psychiatric units. I like those. I get on with those people. And but it's a great thing. And your man Luke O'Neill, Luke O'Neill, the professor. He's and what's he? A fucking the guy. He's always on the telly. He's always talking about COVID. Professor Luke O'Neill. He wrote a book called "Never Mind the Bollocks, Follow the Science."
I'm sure I would recognize it.
And he came to do a couple of gigs with us because he wanted to see what it was like and blah blah blah, And people who were really living in their own little worlds,
Yeah.
Punching up at him and said, "I saw you on the telly," It was like everybody gets something out of it, Everybody, the staff particularly, and some of the clients, they call them people who live there. But there's so many different people, situations that you can do gigs in, It's good. It's good. It's good.
So when is actually your next gig that you think you are probably going to be doing? I know that's a bit of and that's it. But when actually do you think you're going to be starting again?
I have 3 gigs in Dublin in February, like just the Pavilion in Dunleary and the Drake Theatre out in Blanchardstown, and we have the Mill in Dundrum, and the Roisin Dove. Apparently, they're going ahead in February, and there'll probably be 50% capacity. Actually, one of them is in February, the rest of them are in March, and they're going to organise more grant aid so that we'll be paid as if the place was full or something,
Right. Okay.
They're going to announce that on Thursday, and then I do gigs with Francis and Sharon.
Yes.
They're the money gigs. the funny money gigs. They're great crack. We really love to do them. And we do them every January and February. and it's been going on for years. Myself and Francis Black and Sharon Shannon.
Are you telling me that all that? I mean, that's like how many shows? How many shows were supposed to be? Is it that every year? Is it like
every fucking year? Look at, they're all here. The INEC in Killarney, the Opera House in Wexford, the Ulster Hall in Belfast. That's the only one that's going ahead. That's on January 28th. They're huge fucking things. We do the Helix in Dublin, the Cork Opera House. I'm looking at them all here. The University College in Limerick. We do them every year. We do about 18 gigs every January and February.
And what do you enjoy? What is it that you particularly look forward to? Is it the crack with those two women or the band?
Crack, the crack with the women and the band. We all bring two musicians and then we all come together at the end for the big crack, you know.
Yeah.
I'll bring Johnny always at a double bass and Sharon plays her accordion and she usually has, what's his name, Alan playing the keyboards and Francis brings a guitar player and James Nash and he plays with me as well. And so we have great crack. We all have dinner together. Sometimes we stay overnight and fuck it. It's easy and it's lovely. And they're really loyal fans who followed us from, 30 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice. So there's plenty to be done.
Yeah, I can see that. And I'm still bamboozled with the fact that I completely got that wrong. I was thinking that you were zenning out in Wicklow over the last
zen out. If I zen out for more than a weekend at a time, I get nervous,
The first time I met you, I still remember it actually was you were coming down a set of stairs and I was going up a set of stairs. It was at Christmas Rocks at the Olympia Theatre. 1990.
Oh, perfect.
And I think you said to me something about that it was a sort of like I didn't know how to take it. I think you said my daughter loves your music, and I remember thinking like, A, that sounded like you didn't, and B, it sounded like I was thinking you look too young to have a daughter who was anything over the age of like about 4,
Look, my eldest daughter is 46 now.
Oh, I don't feel so bad now. Mary, it's been a joy talking to you.
Lovely talking to you too. That passed quickly. So don't write me off yet anyway.
Oh no, far from it. In fact, before you go, I asked people pick a song that they're singing on to go out of the show on. So a song of yours. I just for whatever reason.
Song.
Yeah, any song from starting from Tired and Emotional right up until Life Stories.
I have a soft spot still for that song, Man of the World. It's an album of 19. Still do it and it still stands up. It's another song that Pete Ledister produced, but it's called Man of the World. I like that song. You can play any song you like.
I know, but we're going to like that one. I know. It would be if I got through all the songs I like yours, I would pick another.
There's another great song if you can't find that one. Kirsty McCall wrote it, and her mother asked me to do it, and I did it. I did it for her first anniversary, and I recorded it. It's called Bad. I've been an awful woman all my life. That's a good one. Play that one.
Okay, that's the one I'll play it on. Mary, thanks a million for spending some time with me. And wishing you all the best. Can't wait to hear this new album when it comes out.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Really exciting.
Well, thank you.
And see you on Facebook.
See you on Facebook. Bye. I've been the token woman all my life. The token daughter, the token wife. Now I've collected tokens one by one. I've saved enough to buy a gun. And you can't get even, but you can get mad. And it's not funny, it's not sad. It's just a feeling I've always had. Look out, world, I'm about to be bad. Brief encounter in a stolen car, a hand on my arse in a Spanish bar. I want to meet the man who'll go too far for a token of my affection.
I wanna taste excitement, smell the danger, get swept off my feet by a perfect stranger. I wanna try something I've never had. Look out, world, I'm about to be bad. Smell the danger, get swept off my feet by a perfect stranger. I wanna try something I've never had. Look out, world, I'm about to be bad. I've been an awful woman all my life, a dreadful daughter and a hopeless wife, and I've had my eyes on that carving knife. You've been lucky so far. I'm not crazy, I'm just mad. I don't want to be sorry, I want to be glad. It's just a feeling that I've always had. Look out, world, I'm about to be bad.
Thank you for listening to the Please Do Something podcast. If you'd like to get in touch, just send an email to brianmurphy@me.com.